What's good, people? Thank you as always for passing by the channel. Much appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. There's a fly in here and I know it's going to interrupt me during filming. It's going to piss me off. It's going to interrupt me. It's going to fuck up my flow. And I can't find it. I can't find it. Let's get this out of the way. Guys, I have made a cup of tea. I do apologize. I might have decided to drink it before filming, but I don't want to. And thus, for the people I know that it pisses off, I know there's a couple of you, I will try and not make slurping noises as I drink the tea. Let's go for it. No noise. I can do it, right? I can do it. I might have some big news coming. I can't lie to you. Might have some big news. Not about boxing, like personally, about myself. I will obviously let you guys know as soon as I know. But fingers crossed, in the next couple of weeks, we might have some big news, people. Honestly, we might have some big news. We might begin to the top. Not top, but we might be making progress anyway. And that's what life's about, right? Progress. Anyway, let's talk about Dillian Whyte, a man that's making progress himself. A man that I got a tweet about a few days ago saying that he's now turned down 5 million. I did a video 2 weeks ago saying he's turned down 4 million. Now it looks like they've added another million and it's still not enough. I mean, look, I'm all for people getting what they're worth, knowing their value. I think that's important in life. Know what you're worth. Don't accept less, but fuck me. You've got to be worth a lot for you to turn down £5 million. It's a lot of money, right? It's a lot of money. In saying that, I mean, he's still going to get taxed 40%. And this is obvious for everyone, but he's still going to get taxed 40%. He's still going to have to pay management fees, possibly promoter fees, or does he not have to pay that? He'll have to pay, I don't know, for his team. So it'll be sparring, all the training camp. So yeah, it is 5 million, but when it's all said and done, it's probably somewhere around 2.2 million, which is still a lot of money, but just saying it's not 5 million that he will see in his bank account. Anyway, it obviously looks like he will not fight Anthony Joshua. I think we're now pretty certain that it's not going to be him fighting AJ at Wembley in April. It probably will be Jarrell Miller. I'm not going to do any more videos about that subject anymore until we have a definite answer about who AJ's fighting. So that video I did 2-3 days ago is my last AJ video on who AJ fights. If AJ does something in between that, which is unrelated to who he's fighting, then of course I'll be all over it. But in terms of who he's fighting, I'm done. I'm out of it. All right, so Eddie Hearn has met with Dillian Whyte and they've outlined 3 possible opponents if he doesn't get AJ next. And those opponents are Dominic Breazeale, Alexander Povetkin, and Luis Ortiz. Let's discuss each individual opponent. Firstly, which one do you prefer? Which one do you prefer out of all those 3? I would prefer, and I think I've probably said this about a million zillion times, Luis Ortiz. That would be my preference. But let's discuss them individually. Let's look at Dominic Breazeale first. Dominic Breazeale's only lost once, obviously. That was to AJ. I think that was AJ's first defense of his IBF title. Got knocked out. What round was it? 7, 8? I can't remember. But put up a decent performance. Since then, I think he's bounced back with 4 or 5 wins on the spin against decent opposition, but nothing spectacular. Wants that WBC shot against Deontay Wilder, but would be willing to fight Dillian Whyte because obviously it's good payday. And I think if he does fight Dillian Whyte, it will be a final eliminator for that WBC shot. Dominic Breazeale's a good name. I do think for Dillian Whyte, it will be a step back. I think most people have Dillian Whyte 4 to 6, right? No worse than 6. So I think Dominic Breazeale's out of that top 6. So I do think it will be a step back fighting Dominic Breazeale. But if he does fight him, it will be good to fight him in America, get his name out there in America. Dominic Breazeale's not a big name, but I think it would be good for him to have, I think it's his second fight in America if that does happen. So that's option number 1. Option number 2 is a good one, Alexander Povetkin. People will say Alexander Povetkin's done, he's old. The usual things people say about boxers once they get a certain age. But I've always said this, heavyweights can go on a bit longer. All right, they can do that. Alexander Povetkin's only lost twice, once to AJ, once to Klitschko, and I still think he's a dangerous opponent. I still honestly believe that Alexander Povetkin fighting anybody, include the top 3 again, Joshua, Wilder, Fury, fighting anyone, is dangerous. He was dangerous against Joshua in the first, I don't know, 3 or 4 rounds, very dangerous. Then Joshua obviously started landing the big bombs and that was that. But Alexander Povetkin is still a very, I think, very, very good fighter. He's still a guy that I have in my top, there's the fly, there's the fly. He's still a guy I have in and around my top 6, so I don't think Dillian Whyte's taken a drop back by fighting him. And I think it'll be good to compare the performance Dillian Whyte puts up against Alexander Povetkin and compare it to the performance that AJ put up against Povetkin, right? That was AJ's recent opponent. So that's a good matchup. There were rumors or talks about that fight happening about a year ago after Povetkin beat Price. I think that's a good matchup. I still think that there is a lot more to offer from Povetkin. The final opponent, and the one that you guys know I'm all over, is Luis Ortiz, right? I did a poll recently saying who would you prefer to see AJ fight next? Jarrell Miller, Luis Ortiz, Usyk, Dillian Whyte. Guess who won the poll? Luis Ortiz. So I'm not the only one that's high on Luis Ortiz, and I do think that this is a fight that determines who 110% should fight for a world title next. I really do think that the winner of Luis Ortiz versus Dillian Whyte should 110% fight for a title. Forget anyone else. Forget Pulev, forget Brazil, forget Povetkin. This is a fight I want to see. These are the guys that, for me, are sitting 4th and 5th in the world rankings right now. Luis Ortiz is a very, very dangerous opponent. Hence why you rarely hear Eddie Hearn talk about Luis Ortiz versus AJ. He's just a dangerous opponent for everyone. Trust me. Go and watch. Max Kellerman talks about Luis Ortiz, and he talks about this Cuban southpaw, hard-hitting Cuban southpaw that no one wants to fight. He's been avoided for a reason, people. Trust me, he's a very, very dangerous opponent. He does have a fight coming up. I think it's Christian Hamer, I think. And then he's obviously rumored to be fighting Joe Joyce. So I think this is just lip service from Eddie Hearn. He's not going to put Dillian Whyte in with Luis Ortiz. There have been talks about them fighting. There were rumors about them fighting before Dillian Whyte fought Derek Chisora. And then obviously that fight didn't happen and he fought Derek Chisora. Maybe because Derek Chisora is a bigger draw in the UK when it comes to pay-per-view numbers. But that's a fight I would like. That would be my favourable choice. Luis Ortiz first, Povetkin second, and then Dominic Breazeale. So you know what's going to happen, right? He's going to fight Dominic Breazeale. That's just the way boxing works. No one wants to see the Dominic Breazeale fight, but he will end up fighting Dominic Breazeale, maybe even on a PBC show. Don't be surprised if that happens. But if I had my choice, it would be Ortiz, then Povetkin, because they're the fights that make sense in a hierarchy standpoint, and then Dominic Breazeale. So like I said, it's going to be Dominic Breazeale.